And now to the coronavirus in the U.S. and the efforts to vaccinate children and teenagers. The CDC now investigating a potential link between vaccines and a small number of heart inflammation cases in young people, while Moderna applies for emergency use authorization to vaccinate kids 12 to 17 years old. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
An expert panel today taking a closer look at reports of heart inflammation among young people after they received the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. The CDC now reporting preliminary data of 226 cases of myocarditis in people younger than 30 out of millions of people vaccinated. So far, there is no firm link to the vaccine. Though still rare, the case numbers are higher than the CDC would expect to see in the general population.
When you see myocarditis, it tends to be found within a few days, 2 to 3 days after the second dose of the vaccine. And it seems to start with chest pain, shortness of breath, and exercise intolerance.
Doctors are being told to look out for symptoms just like that, but cases appear to be mild and go away with treatment. Moderna today joining Pfizer in applying for authorization for its vaccine for 12 to 17-year-olds. Just 28% of that age group has gotten their first dose. Some parents are still not ready to vaccinate their children.
I would prefer to wait just to see how things go. As of now, I don't want to even consider it.
Pfizer and Moderna now testing lower doses of the vaccine in children 11 and younger.
1, 2, 3.
At Ochsner Health in Louisiana, 6-year-old Ellie Bowie is participating in Pfizer's trial. Her younger siblings, 3 and 14 months old, will get their shots soon too. Their parents are doctors.
For us, our kids living safely in a world where we don't have to worry about them getting sick from COVID, being able to go to school, have play dates with their friends, we feel strongly that vaccine is what is going to get us to those goals.
And after states warned large batches of unused doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine could soon expire, today the FDA extended the shelf life of the vaccine by an extra 6 weeks.
I believe there's good news for all or most of those doses that the expiration date will be extended, which gives us an opportunity to get those shots into people's arms.
Our thanks to Marcus Moore in New Orleans for us tonight. For more on today's COVID news, we bring in ABC News contributor and epidemiologist Dr. John Brownstein. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being with us. You work in pediatrics. Are you concerned about the potential link between vaccines and heart inflammation in teenagers? And what do teens and their parents need to know?
Yeah. So, of course, any amount of adverse events in populations is something that we're going to want to take a deeper dive in. But remember, the numbers of cases that we've identified of this myocarditis is really small and mostly lasting only a day or two in very mild cases. So it's important for us to keep an eye on. It's super rare, though, and it's not even clear yet that the vaccines were actually the cause of this heart inflammation. And what I really want to message to parents is that the benefits really continue to outweigh any risks when it comes to getting vaccinated. Of course, the risk of myocarditis with COVID infection itself is far greater. And so, the CDC continues to recommend the vaccine to 12 and older. And really, this is about the system working and having the right guardrails in place so that when we identify these cases, we can do deeper investigations.
There's definitely hesitancy from parents. Do you think there's an age that might be too young to vaccinate as we look to vaccinate kids as young as 5 years old? And with Moderna now applying for authorization for kids who are 12 to 17 years old?
Well, we have to remember that children 12 and over do make up a significant portion of the global population, can develop severe COVID disease and can spread it to others. And so when we think about the importance of getting everyone vaccinated to protect our communities and to get to a herd immunity and getting our kids safely in schools, vaccinating our kids is super important. Now, I'll just reiterate the fact that our safety trials are really hyper-focused on making sure that vaccines are safe as well as effective for our kids. This is why we had phase 1 studies that really defined the level of dose needed for the kids. And now in these phase 2 and 3 trials, the lens is really going to be about safety and making sure that the vaccine, when it's approved by the FDA, is really safe for our kids. But at the end of the day, it's all about making sure our parents are fully informed and they make the right decisions for our kids this fall.
Now, doctor, as a mom of 2 young kids, I speak to a lot of other moms out there who have received the vaccine themselves, but they flat out say they're just not confident with this vaccine and their kids because their kids are developing. What would be your message to these parents that are just really, really hesitant to get their kids vaccinated?
Yeah, I fully understand that. And, we have to make sure that everyone's concerns are heard. I have 2 kids myself, a 10 and 11-year-old. As soon as that authorization happens, I'm going to be first in line to get my kids vaccinated. But at the end of the day, this is all about transparency and making sure that everyone is informed and has the right data. As we've seen throughout these trials, these vaccines have been incredibly effective. And we know that the risks around vaccines are so minimal, especially when you look at the risks of potential severe COVID. Now, of course, overall, the risk around COVID is low. But when you look at the risk benefit, the vaccines far outweigh, the risk that we have with COVID. So, of course, it's all going to be about conversations with pediatricians to really be fully informed so that people feel confident in these vaccines and really, understand it's our way back into our normal lives.
I will be sure to send my mom friends a link to this interview. Now, finally, the U.S. is donating 500 million doses of the COVID vaccine to poorer countries. There's, of course, humanitarian and even diplomatic reasons to do this, but walk us through how this also helps the COVID fight right here at home if we were just thinking about our self-interests.
We have to keep remembering that this is a global virus. This is not something that's just a U.S. problem or another country's problem, that we are all interconnected. These viruses move around. These variants can reach our shores very easily. And so if you have uncontrolled outbreaks in different parts of the country, rest assured that those variants that are emerging will end up in the U.S. So this will just keep happening if we don't take this as a global perspective, not just as a national vaccine rollout.
The light at the end of the tunnel. That is where we are trying to get to. Thank you so much, Dr. Brownstein, for your insights. We see that you are part of the Fauci gang with the pillow behind you. Noted. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.